How does this 17-year-old high school dropout working at his grandma's laundromat, lying about his age to a hot blonde,
How old are you?
25.
21.
I was worried you were going to say 19.
end up married with a kid,
Maybe it's gas. Did you burp her?
a tire store, a mother-in-law from hell, and a dead dad to grieve, all by the age of 21? Damn. And the whole thing started because of a broken washing machine and a really bad pickup line. Today, we're covering the entire story of Georgie and Mandy. Easily one of the most chaotic accidental love stories in the entire Big Bang Theory universe. We're going to walk through every part of young Sheldon that built these two up. Then we're rolling straight into Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, the spin-off where Georgie suddenly has to figure out how to be a husband, a dad, and a tire store owner who still can't legally buy his own beer.
Old enough.
Old enough to what? To drink?
Alright, let's get into it. So before we get to Mandy, we got to talk about who Georgie was before her, because the only way to understand how big a deal Mandy turns out to be is to first see how much of a disaster Georgie was without her in his life.
Dad, remember my silly idea?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's snowing.
Meet Georgie Cooper. He's the older brother of the Sheldon Cooper. You know, the genius from The Big Bang Theory who can't sit on the wrong cushion without filing a formal complaint.
I'm only 2 minutes older.
Which makes you the big brother, which means that it is your job to look out for her.
That doesn't make sense. Why should random birth order determine moral responsibility?
Where Sheldon got the IQ, Georgie got the height, and the willingness to drive his drunk grandma home from a bar at 13. So, you know, priorities. The Coopers live in Medford, Texas, where we got George Sr., the dad, who coaches football down at the high school. Mary, the mom, who's so deeply Baptist that deeply is doing a lot of work at that sentence. Sheldon, the genius little brother who treats normal life like a science experiment he didn't sign up for.
Oh, I read that book. It's excellent.
Are you into rocketry?
I started with water propulsion, worked my way up to solid fuel, then went back to water after I set our garage on fire.
Nice.
And Missy, Sheldon's twin sister, who's honestly the only sane person in this whole family. And then there's Mima, Connie Tucker, honestly the best character in this entire universe. She runs a laundromat, she secretly runs a gambling room out of the back, she drinks more than any grandma should, and she schemes constantly. She is Georgie's actual best friend. Now, on paper, Georgie is set up to be the dumb older brother. And honestly, he plays the role pretty well. He plays football because his dad coaches it, but he secretly hates the sport. He's a B- student on his good days, and he's already burned through 2 girlfriends. The first one is Veronica Duncan, his childhood crush and a family friend who eventually ends up getting really religious. The boy likes her right up until she becomes way too holy to date him. Classic case. Then there's Jana Owens, the high school girlfriend. Things get serious when Mary, being Mary, listens in on a phone call where Jana invites Georgie over because her parents are out of town.
My parents are gonna be out of town.
Really?
Wanna come over?
Mary spies on the whole call. Georgie lies about literally everything. They get caught, and the entire family ends up screaming at each other in the kitchen. Standard Tuesday at the Cooper house, honestly. And in that same stretch, Jana actually thinks she might be pregnant. Georgie waits the longest 10 minutes of his life staring at a pregnancy test, watching his entire future flash before his eyes. The test comes back negative. Crisis averted. He learns absolutely nothing from this experience.
Well,
I'm not.
really?
We're good.
Thank God.
Honestly, this is the running theme of pre-Mandy Georgie. He keeps falling for women who are slightly out of his league or way ahead of him in life. He keeps getting close to consequences, and he keeps getting saved at the last second by sheer dumb luck. The universe is very politely warning him that he's pushing it, and of course, he isn't listening. Around this time, Mima starts dating a guy named Dale Ballard, who owns the local sporting goods store, and pretty quickly, Georgie starts working there. And here's the surprise of the season. Georgie's actually really good at it. Like, really good. He's a natural salesman, easy with customers, smooth talker, the whole thing.
At least $400. I know it's a lot. That's why I said I screwed up. I gotta think about this. I'll call you back.
Dale even leaves him in charge of the store one day. In the next episode, Dale leaves Georgie in charge of the store for the first time. Georgie nails it. The kid's a damn good salesman. But while he's distracted by a customer, the store gets robbed of more than $400. Yikes. Georgie offers Dale his entire life savings to pay it back. Dale's response is to fire him on the spot. Cold, Dale.
You're fired.
Really?
Get out of my store.
Right around the same time, Georgie pulls one of the dumbest moves of his teenage life. He decides he needs his own car, which is reasonable. But instead of getting a normal car, he buys a sus-as-hell motel on wheels van. Like the kind of van you cross the street to avoid. George Sr. threatens to kick him out of the house if he doesn't return it, and Georgie eventually does take it back. But the writing is officially on the wall now for this kid.
Morning, sunshine.
What do you want?
Oh, just to see how you're doing.
I'm fine. Thanks for the juice.
Oh, this isn't for you. Ooh. Cold and refreshing.
Then comes the real kicker. The principal calls Georgie in to talk about him constantly skipping class, and instead of, fixing the problem, Georgie just up and drops out right there in the principal's office. Walks out of the meeting and out of high school all at once.
You saying you're gonna drop out?
I guess I am.
George is furious, kicks him out of the house. Mary cries.
It's my house. If you don't go to school, you can't live here.
Hold on, we are not kicking him out.
The hell we're not.
I'll pack right now.
Jana dumps him on the spot because she did not sign up to date a 17-year-old dropout.
I don't think this is gonna work out.
You're breaking up with me?
Yeah,
You're serious?
I feel like I don't have a choice.
Dale refuses to make him a full-time employee. Mima doesn't really care, but even she can tell things have gone sideways for the kid. So at this point in the story, Georgie is a 17-year-old high school dropout. He's been fired by Dale, dumped by Jana, kicked out by his own dad, and he's the proud owner of a van that legally counts as a public health concern. The man is having the worst year of his teenage life, which is hilariously about to get a hell of a lot worse. Because tonight, Georgie is about to walk into Mima's laundromat and meet Mandy. So, picture this. Mima's laundromat, regular weeknight. Georgie's covering a shift, doing the absolute bare minimum, probably eating something he didn't pay for. A blonde walks in, fighting with washing machine number 7. The thing's been broken for months. Mima refuses to fix it because, in her words, it adds character, whatever that means. And Georgie, doing what Georgie does best, walks over to help her out and gives her the absolute most Georgie pickup line of all time. Smooth. Real smooth.
What you want to do is a push-pull.
And here I was just pushing like a damn fool.
Her name's Mandy. She just moved back to Medford from San Antonio, where she had a whole life going on. She was a weather girl at a local TV station. She had her own place, and she had a boyfriend who was also her boss. Then they broke up, and his new girlfriend got her old TV slot. So Mandy's having a rough year too, just on a slightly more adult, slightly more humiliating level.
I was the weather girl at the local TV station. 5:30 every morning. More people are seeing me right here.
She mentions she's living back with her parents and feels weird about it. Georgie says he can relate since he just got kicked out of his own house. They flirt over wine stains. Tells her she should let it soak. She asks if that actually works. He says he doesn't know. That's just his answer to every laundry question. Honestly, a pretty cute meet.
You gotta let it soak first.
Does that work?
I don't know. That's just my answer to every laundry question.
The whole conversation is full of these little, or both kind of stuck moments that genuinely make these two click. Georgie's relaxed, Mandy's relaxed, they're laughing about wine stains. For about 10 minutes, this could be the start of a normal relationship, until it isn't. Because Mandy asks the question that's about to tank his entire life. How old are you? Yeah, there it is. Georgie panics. He thinks old enough sounds smooth. It does not. Mandy presses for a number, so Georgie just blurts out 21. 21, which is a lie. He's 17, punching down by like a decade, and he doesn't even know it. Now, while they're eating, Mima walks into the bar, just shows up. Her and Mandy have a whole little chat across the table. Mima knows immediately that Mandy's way too old for her grandson, and she can see it from across the room, but Mima, being Mima, just plays it cool and orders herself a margarita. She'll deal with this later. The respect for the game is real. In the next episode, Georgie and Mandy are getting hot and heavy. They're at her place, which she's quick to point out is a studio. The bedroom's also the kitchen, also the living room. She's leaning into the makeout. Back to Mandy and Georgie, things are escalating. And then casually, like she's talking about the weather, Mandy drops the bomb on him. She's not actually in her early 20s. She's 29 years old.
I'm actually 29.
This is Georgie's chance. He could come clean right here. He could go, by the way, I'm actually 17, please don't call the cops. But does he do that? Of course he doesn't. Dumbass Georgie just nods and smiles and rolls with it. Back at the laundromat, Mima eventually finds out about the age gap, and she immediately tells Georgie this is a problem. Like, this isn't a white lie anymore. There are actual laws. Come clean, Georgie. So Georgie does the natural thing. He goes to ask Dale, the smartest person in his life.
Am I in trouble?
No, it's about a girl.
Oh, you're in trouble. Yes, you're.
And Dale, after hearing she's a hot blonde, basically tells him to keep his mouth shut. Just incredible mentorship from this man.
Like 10 years, but she's blonde and she's really hot.
She married?
Nope,
She got kids?
nope.
I don't see the problem.
Thank you.
My pleasure. You're like the son I never wanted.
Then comes the moment. Georgie is at Mandy's apartment. Things are about to escalate. Mandy pulls out her yearbook, all, look how big my hair was in '85. She asks Georgie when he wants to show her his yearbook. Georgie just kind of stares at her, sweating bullets, knowing that the lie is officially run out of road. So he confesses. All of it, right there.
But I'm not really 21, I'm 17.
He's 17 and a high school dropout. Mandy goes from fully into it to fully out of it in about 3 seconds. She just slept with a 17-year-old.
I just slept with a 17-year-old.
She kicks him out. The relationship is, as far as anyone can tell, over. Which would be a real bummer, except for one tiny detail. She's pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
In the next episode, Mandy turns up pregnant, like with the world's most poorly timed surprise. So now we've got a 29-year-old single woman, a 17-year-old high school dropout boyfriend, an upcoming baby, and absolutely zero idea how to tell either of their families about any of this. The math on this is comedy and tragedy in equal proportions. Georgie's first instinct is to marry her, like immediately, without thinking, which credit to him is at least a try. Dale of all people talks him out of it, says, "You're 17. Slow down. Marriage isn't just a thing you sign up for in 5 minutes.
Rushing into marriage with someone you hardly know is a bad idea.
Mark this one on the calendar. Dale Ballard, briefly the voice of reason in 1990s Texas. In the next episode, Georgie tries to tell George Sr., shows up at the house, opens his mouth, imagines his dad's reaction, and bails. Just leaves. Some other day, maybe. But Dale eventually convinces him. So Georgie sits George down for real. And George, for once in his life, is too speechless to even get angry. He just kinda stares at the wall. Then they go tell Mary together. And here's the thing. You'd think George Sr. was the worst case reaction. You'd be wrong. When Mary finds out her teenage son got a 29-year-old woman pregnant, she absolutely goes ballistic. Full religious meltdown at the highest order, with scripture and tears and absolutely no middle ground anywhere. She demands Georgie marry Mandy on the spot.
You're gonna have to marry her.
I think so too.
She demands the baby be raised Baptist. She demands 1,000 other things at the same time, none of them in any particular order. Mary Cooper does not do nuance, and she sure as hell does not do calm conversations. In the next episode, Meemaw convinces Mandy to come over for a sit-down dinner with Mary and George. Promises it'll be fine. Says they've handled this kind of thing before. It is not fine. They have not. Mary spends the entire dinner basically demanding Mandy convert and marry her son and raise the baby Baptist. Over potatoes. Mandy walks out of that dinner so fast that you can see the dust trail. Meanwhile, Sheldon and Missy figure the whole thing out, because nothing ever escapes those twins. They get sworn to secrecy because the entire Baptist church will have something to say if any of this leaks. So now there are 2 children walking around town with the biggest gossip bombshell in Medford. What could possibly go wrong? In the next episode, back at the McAllister house, Mandy goes home and tells her own parents, Jim and Audrey McAllister, pillars of the community, real proper people, and their reaction is to disown disown her on the spot. They want nothing to do with her or the baby. Just out. Bye, Mandy. This is honestly one of the wildest in-law setups any show has ever pulled. Mandy's own parents straight up disown her. Georgie's mom, the same woman who just demanded a Baptist conversion at a dinner table 2 weeks ago, basically adopts her. Mandy ends up moving into her boyfriend's grandma's house at Meemaw's place, and the whole arrangement should not work for any reason at all. And yet, somehow, it does.
So I told my folks about the baby.
And?
They told me I'm on my own. They want nothing to do with me.
And honestly, she fits right in. Mandy and Meemaw get along like a house on fire from day one. Both of them are blunt, smart, slightly chaotic women who don't take crap from anyone in this town. Mandy's slowly discovering that the Coopers, as weird as they are, treat her a hell lot better than her own family ever did. Back to the chaos department. Around the same stretch, Meemaw takes Georgie on a quick road trip to Mexico to buy cheap cigarettes for the gambling room. They get hit with a hefty fine at the border, and George Sr. has to drive all the way down there to pick them both up. So, just to recap, pregnant girlfriend at home, mom in religious meltdown, life on fire, and Georgie's brilliant solution is a Mexican cigarette smuggling run. Great! Really love this for him. In the next episode, while on a date, Georgie and Mandy run into Jim and Audrey at a restaurant. Painful is the only word for it. Right out of the gate, Audrey is openly hostile to Mandy, to Georgie, to the concept of grandkids. Jim's uncomfortable, but more reasonable. So the next day, Georgie sneaks over to Jim's tire store to make peace. Just dad to almost dad. And it works. Jim warms up to him. He's actually impressed the kid showed up, but Audrey's not ready. And when Mandy finds out Georgie went behind her back, she loses it. Because the only thing she didn't want was Georgie getting in the middle of her family drama.
You went and talked to my folks behind my back?
Oh, Georgie. I was trying to patch things up between them.
That's none of your business.
Jim shows up at the Cooper house at one point trying to give Mandy a little bit of money and offer to fix things. Mandy chases him out, and Jim, fair to him, says something pretty important on his way out.
Maybe she's not the only one being stubborn.
Yeah, Audrey needs to come around, but Mandy hasn't been the easiest person to talk to either. Both things can be true. Back to Mandy. In the next episode, she makes her own mistake. She spent so long convincing herself this isn't serious, that Georgie's just a 17-year-old kid she got tangled up with, that she starts pushing him to date other people. Like, literally pushing. A girl named Amber starts flirting with Georgie at Meemaw's video store. Mandy's reaction is, you should totally take her out. She tells Meemaw she doesn't want to tie Georgie down.
He's on a date.
Why, that little...
No, it's okay. I told him to.
So Georgie reluctantly takes Amber out for dinner, and Mandy spends the entire night quietly going out of her mind back at home. Because the second she watched her boyfriend leave for another woman, she figured out what she'd known the whole time. She actually likes the kid. She likes the guy who showed up for her. She likes Georgie. But she said the thing. She can't unsay it. So now she's in the worst possible spot. Pushed her boyfriend into seeing someone else, and now has to pretend to be cool about it. In the next episode, Mary decides that Mandy deserves a real baby shower. And Mary, also being Mary, decides Audrey should be invited because she's still her mom. Right, sure, let's set that landmine for later. Audrey shows up to the shower. Of course she does. Takes one look at the punch bowl and the streamers and decides that this is now officially her event. She insists everything be done her way. The cake, the seating, the order people open gifts. She's running this baby shower like a small Soviet republic, and nobody at the party has the energy to stop her. And then, while Mandy's calmly opening presents in front of all her friends, Audrey drops a bomb. She slides a house key across the table and tells Mandy that once the baby's born, she should move back home with a real family. The same family that disowned her 2 months ago. That family. Mary is fuming. Meemaw is fuming. Mandy is somewhere between crying and starting a fistfight. The shower is a disaster. Back to Mandy. Then it happens. She goes into labor. Sheldon's home alone when the call comes in.
Hello?
Sheldon, is Georgie there?
No.
Is your mom there?
No.
Are there any adults there?
No.
The Coopers all rush over. Audrey and Jim show up. Mary and Audrey immediately start fighting in the hospital lobby because of course they do. Meanwhile, Sheldon, of all people, finds Georgie sitting alone in a hallway, completely freaking out. Georgie's having a full panic moment. He's 17 years old. He's about to be a dad. He has no idea how to be a dad. His own dad's not exactly setting the world on fire as a role model. The kid is terrified out of his mind. And Sheldon, of all people, says exactly the right thing. He talks about almost missing something he'd regret, about showing up, and it works. Georgie gets up, walks back into the delivery room, and stays right there with Mandy.
How you doing?
Where were you?
Sorry, I was trying to install the car seat, and I didn't hear the phone.
After all the screaming, all the fighting, all the months of chaos and bad decisions, Mandy finally delivers a healthy baby girl. They name her Constance, after Meemaw, Cece for short. Damn.
You remember to check the baby's ID bracelet before we left the hospital, right?
Why?
To make sure they gave us the right baby.
In the next episode, Georgie's actually turning out to be an S-rank dad, and his 18th birthday's coming up. Mandy plans him a family birthday dinner. Real cute. But then on the same day, Amber, yes, that Amber, invites him out for his birthday too. Mandy plays it cool, says no problem, we'll do family later. So Georgie goes out with Amber, sits down at the table, realizes within 10 minutes that he doesn't want to be there. He breaks up with her right at dinner. Then he goes back to Mandy, and right in the middle of family birthday dinner, kind of blurted out, Georgie proposes.
There's something else you could do for my birthday.
And what?
Marry me.
In the next episode, we find out that the proposal wasn't actually that smooth. Mandy doesn't just say yes and ride off into the sunset. There's tension, there's doubt. Mandy plans a romantic getaway, all expenses paid. Georgie's not psyched. Admits to Meemaw he's hesitant to spend that much alone time with Mandy when he doesn't know where they stand. They go on the trip anyway. They fight. Mandy wants to be a real couple again. Georgie doesn't believe she'll commit. The fight clears the air. Engagement back on.
All right, let's get married.
What?
You think I'm not all in, but I am.
I am too.
In the next episode, Mandy starts looking into going back to work. Channel 7 needs a new weather girl. She's literally already done the job. Perfect. And Georgie, channeling his dad and possibly his mom, pulls the oldest line in the playbook. Goes, well, mom should stay at home. Bro, read the room. Mandy is furious. Meemaw jumps to her side, takes her shopping for interview clothes, helps her prep for the audition. Mandy nails it, gets the gig. From this point on, Mandy's working her own career while Georgie figures out fatherhood. In the next episode, the engagement is on for real. Time to plan a wedding, which immediately turns into the Second World War between Mandy's Catholic mom and Georgie's Baptist mom. They have opinions. Strong, loud, religious opinions. And then it gets way worse, because Mary and Audrey start straight up lying behind each other's backs to manipulate Mandy, each of them telling her the other one is being unreasonable about the wedding plans. Mandy eventually figures out that they've both been doing it the whole time. Mary confesses to her part of it, looking deeply ashamed of herself. Audrey, on the other hand, has zero shame at all about getting caught. She just doubles down on the lies.
My granddaughter is not going to be raised Catholic. She's going to worship Jesus, not the Pope.
We don't worship the Pope.
The next day, Mandy snaps, tells Georgie they're done with this. She invites Meemaw and Dale to a secret, impromptu, kind of spiteful little wedding at City Hall. They show up in jeans, they get married in like 15 minutes. No church, no pageantry, no moms.
Take care of my little girl.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Audrey, when she finds out, is initially furious, but then she does something almost decent. She offers to pay for their honeymoon as an apology. Now we gotta talk about the part of the story that isn't funny. Toward the end of young Sheldon, in the final stretch of the series, George Cooper Sr., Georgie's dad, Mary's husband, the football coach who never got the head coaching job he wanted, the guy who got a lot wrong but tried his best every single day, he has a heart attack at home, and he dies. It's sudden, it's fast. The show stops being a sitcom for about 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. I am so angry.
Mary is wrecked. Meemaw is wrecked. Missy is wrecked. Even Sheldon, who has spent his whole life acting like he didn't need a dad, falls apart. Adult Sheldon, narrating from the future, has a whole monologue about everything he never got to say. The shows he wished he'd watched with his dad. The arguments he wished they'd had differently. It's the emotional crescendo of the whole show, who just got married at City Hall, who has a baby and a wife and had no idea what he's doing. Georgie is suddenly the closest thing his family has to a father figure, the eldest son, the man of the house at 18. He doesn't say much in the funeral episodes. He doesn't have to. The look on his face says all of it. The fights they had. The advice George never got to give him. The 1,000 things you don't realize you needed your dad for until your dad isn't there anymore. Oh man. That's where young Sheldon leaves us. George Sr. gone, Mandy and Georgie married, Cece in the crib, Mandy on Channel 7 doing the weather, Georgie working a bag boy job his father-in-law got him. The kids who lied to each other at a bar barely a year ago are now a family with a hole in the middle of it. The first episode of the spin-off is the 610 to Lubbock, which picks up about a month after George Sr.'s death. Same town, same characters, different show. And the very first thing it does is throw us into the McAllister house, because that's where Georgie, Mandy, and Cece are now living, with Jim, with Audrey, and with Mandy's awkward little brother Connor. In the pilot, Georgie and Mandy are fed up. The house is crowded, Audrey is impossible, and they're seriously reconsidering whether they should still be there at all. Spoiler, they stay, because they can't afford anything else. Welcome to being a 19-year-old husband and a dad. In the next episode, some New York nonsense. Georgie's struggling to balance work, life, and family. Missy gets in trouble at school, so even though Missy lives with Mary now, she's still a little hurricane the family has to clean up after. In the next episode, Secrets, Lies, and a Chunk of Change, Georgie discovers Mandy's been hiding thousands of dollars of debt, like actual thousands, hidden from him. 3 episodes into being married. Yikes. Mandy goes back to work to start digging out. They don't fully fix it, they just survive it. In the next episode, Todd's mom, they try to make new couple friends. Awkward as hell. We meet Beth, a recently divorced waitress at the Bluebell Diner who becomes Mandy's running buddy through the whole season. In the next episode, Thanksgiving, November 14th, 2024, first one out of the gate after George Sr.'s death, Mandy spends the entire episode trying to get Mary, Missy, and Mima to even show up for dinner, because Mary's barely holding it together. Missy's a grieving teenager who doesn't want to fake celebrate, and Mima is processing the loss in her own way at home. The dinner does happen. Everyone sits at the table, and in classic Cooper fashion, nobody quite says what they're really feeling. Annie Potts, Zoe Perry, and Reagan Reverd all come back for this one episode. The actresses who played Mima, Mary, and Missy on young Sheldon, and you can feel the weight of it. This was the first time the show really planted its flag and went, yeah, the dad is gone. We're gonna deal with that. In the next episode, A Regular Samaritan, Georgie joins a church specifically so he can sell tires to the congregation. A real wholesome guy. In the next episode, An Old Mustang, Georgie's working on a side project with Jim, and Mandy and Audrey are decorating Cece's nursery, which goes about as well as you'd imagine when those two share a paint can. In the next episode, Diet Crap, Mandy gets a sales gig publishing diet products, and Georgie immediately starts intruding because that's what Georgie does. But it's the next episode, a tire convention and the moral high ground, that drops the season's first real plot twist. Georgie discovers that Jim's annual tire convention trip isn't actually a tire convention at all. And without spoiling exactly what Jim's been up to on those trips, let's just say Georgie now has some real dirt on his father-in-law that he doesn't quite know what to do with. Meanwhile, Mandy's starting to have her own real doubts about the marriage. Heavy episode dressed up like a sitcom. In the next episode, A House Divided, Audrey and Mary go to all-out war over Cece, like custody of the grandchild war. Georgie and Mandy have to take sides. It is a nightmare. In the next episode, Working for the Enemy, we meet the season's main villain, Fred Fagenbacher, owner of the other tire store in Medford, Jim's lifelong rival, and wait for it, Audrey's high school boyfriend. In the episode, Georgie temporarily quits Jim's store and goes to work for Fagenbacher. The entire season's worth of business drama traces back to this moment. Audrey's past with Fagenbacher comes spilling out, and the family has to deal with the fact that Audrey was basically a person who used to date. The next episode is Typhoid Georgie. Georgie's sick at home with a cold and feeling like he's letting his family down. Cute sitcom premise on the surface, but this episode actually contains a dream sequence where Lance Barber returns to play George Sr. one more time, and Georgie gets to talk to his dad, just for a few minutes, in a fever dream surrounded by laundry. Quietly, one of the most emotional moments in the entire spin-off, and easy to miss if you're not paying attention. In the next episode, McAllister Auto loves the ladies. Georgie and Audrey team up to make changes at the tire store, which makes Jim feel ganged up on. Mandy ends up mediating, which is also basically her job description for the entire show. In the next episode, A Sportsbook at a Breakup, Mandy finds out Mima is running an illegal sportsbook out of the back of her video store, and because she's Mandy, she immediately wants in on the action.
Bookie? Oh, Connie, a bookie? Could you just keep this between you and me? Don't tell Dale.
Of course. Yeah, I won't tell anyone.
Meanwhile, Georgie's desperately trying to keep her new job a secret. Bro, what is wrong with this family? In the next episode, Goddess of the Music Store, Connor has a crush on a girl who works at the local music store. Georgie tries to help him out since he's been there himself. Audrey, Jim, and Mandy all promise to butt out of Connor's love life, and then all three of them fail spectacularly at butting out within about, 10 minutes.
I only told Mandy.
Well, I only told Mom and Dad.
That's everybody.
In the next episode, Baby Fight, the big one, Georgie and Mandy disagree about having a second kid. Georgie wants more. Mandy is not ready, given that the first one almost destroyed her career, her body, and her family.
You really don't want to have more kids?
I don't know. Probably someday.
They fight. Mary, Jim, and Audrey all weigh in, which is the worst possible support group for this conversation. In the next episode, two idiots on a dirt bike, Georgie tries to break up Missy and her new boyfriend.
That don't make it better. I told you to stay away. Couldn't help it. I really like her.
That backfires hard. In the next episode, TV Money, Mandy tries to prove she's financially responsible after Jim and Georgie call out her spending.
What's this?
Rent check.
Connor's new girlfriend needs a place to crash, and house gets even more crowded. In the next episode, Snitch vs. Deadbeat, Mandy's forced to help Mima collect money from her own dad, Jim, who's been losing bets at the sportsbook.
The first time I lost.
Dad.
The first time I lost this much.
Georgie's stuck in the middle. The amount of family against family scheming in this episode is genuinely impressive. In the next episode, Ladies Love Brunch, it's Mother's Day. Georgie has to juggle Mary, Audrey, and Mandy, all of whom have demands. Audrey wants to meet Connor's girlfriend. Connor doesn't want her to. Standard chaos. Then we hit the two-part finale. In the next episode, Guilt Boots Part 1, Georgie panics when he learns Jim is considering selling the tire store.
He offered to buy this place.
What? You said no, right?
Said I'd think about it.
Why?
Because I need to think about it.
To Fagenbacher. Yes, the Fagenbacher. The man who's been slowly trying to kill Jim's business for 2 decades. Jim's ready to retire and walk away, and Fagenbacher's the highest bidder. Georgie loses his mind. Meanwhile, Mandy's forced to confront a long-running lie she's been carrying since the beginning of the season.
Okay, whatever it is, God will forgive.
I mean, there's not much to forgive. I didn't tell my husband that my new boss is also my ex-boyfriend and that I've been working with him on and off for the past few months.
In the next episode, Big Decisions Part 2, the truth about Mandy's boss comes out. Turns out Scott, her boss at the TV station, is actually her ex. The guy from San Antonio, the one she said she broke up with before moving back, Mandy's been working for her ex-boyfriend the entire season and never told Georgie.
No, this has been my dream for as long as I can remember, and I'm not walking away from it.
Then I guess you're picking him over me.
I am picking my career, which I thought you supported.
Oh, so if I worked with an old girlfriend, you'd be okay with it?
Of course.
While that's blowing up, Georgie pulls off the move of his entire life. He partners with his coworker Ruben, and they scrape together enough money to buy the tire store off Jim before the deal with Fagenbacher closes. Just barely, just in time. Jim retires, and Georgie and Ruben are the new co-owners of McAllister Auto.
How come you get the desk? Because I got here before you.
I stopped to get donuts.
The kid who dropped out of high school in his junior year and bought a sus van as a teenager just bought himself a real functional small business. Damn, Georgie. Season ends right there, with a kid who couldn't even keep a part-time job a year ago now signing the paperwork on a small business. Honestly, in a story this messy, hearing this one. Heads up, Season 2 is currently airing, and as of right now, episodes 1 through 19 have aired. Finale's just a couple of weeks away, so this is the most up-to-date you can get. The first episode of Season 2 is A Tiebreaker and a Huge Mistake, which aired in October 2025. Georgie owns the store now, but Ruben, his new business partner, disagrees with him on everything. They can't agree on prices, hours, what to stock, or how to run the place. Meanwhile, Jim's retirement is way harder than he thought it would be. He doesn't really know who he is without the store anymore. In the next episode, fan mail and old-timey organ music, Mandy gets promoted to weekend weather girl. More screen time, more attention, more men in town getting a little too friendly with her about it. Georgie's a little jealous. Connor gets roped into playing the organ at the high school baseball game, which is exactly as awkward as it sounds. In the next episode, A Will and a Dead Man's Wife, things get heavy. Mary starts seeing someone, and Georgie is not ready. Look, Mary lost her husband. She's a relatively young widow. She's allowed to live her life. She's allowed to put on a dress and go to dinner with someone who isn't a memory. That's actually a healthy step. But try telling that to a 19-year-old whose dad's old football jersey's still hanging in his old closet back at the Cooper house. Try telling that to the kid who just spent his first Thanksgiving with an empty chair at the table. Georgie's processing his grief on the absolute lowest setting, and Mary moving forward feels to him like a betrayal of something that he hasn't even figured out yet himself. Meanwhile, Jim and Audrey try to write their wills, which is the most dysfunctional couples exercise you could possibly imagine. They cannot agree on who gets the lake house. They cannot agree on which of their kids is responsible enough. They cannot agree on what the color of the will should be printed on. The episode ends without any real resolution. Just Georgie sitting at the kitchen table, slowly processing the fact that life keeps moving forward whether you're ready for it or not. The show doesn't dress this one up with a tidy joke at the end. It just lets it sit there. In the next episode, Dirty Hands at a Barbed Wire Fence, Feigenbacher is officially back. He's actively trying to run Georgie and Ruben out of business, lying to customers about prices, poaching their best clients, probably committing low-level vandalism on the side. Georgie and Ruben have to start fighting dirty just to keep the doors open. Meanwhile, Mandy's getting more and more suspicious at George's lies, because at this point, Georgie's hiding stuff again, just like in season 1. The man cannot help himself. In the next episode, a pregnancy test and an old man's gallbladder, Georgie's jealousy completely takes over. Mandy gets sent on an overnight work trip with Scott. Yes, the ex, the guy from last season, the one she hid from him for an entire year. They're now traveling together for work to another city, sharing meals, probably sharing a hotel hallway. Georgie is very much unwell about it, and honestly, you cannot blame the man. Meanwhile, Jim and Audrey find a pregnancy test in Connor's trash and absolutely lose their minds. They're running through the worst case scenarios at full speed. For the record, it's not actually his. Connor has a girlfriend named Chloe, and there's a misunderstanding. But for an entire B-plot, the McAllister parents think that their teenage son got someone pregnant, and they handle it about as well as Mary handled it the first time around. So, badly. In the next episode, Heartbreak and the Refuge of the Downtrodden, the whole family rallies around Connor going through a rough patch. Connor's genuinely lost about his life right now. What to do? Who to even be? Where to go from here? Even Audrey's being decent about it for once, which honestly should be put in a museum somewhere. The show has been quietly building Connor up as a real character all season long, and this is the episode where he finally gets his actual emotional turn. In the next episode, a bus bench and Faith out the wazoo, the Audrey versus Mary feud rears its head again, when Georgie needs both their help with the tire store, and Jim has to confront how old he's getting after a really uncomfortable visit to the DMV. Brutal way to find out that you've aged. In the next episode, Biden, spanking, and a whole lot of Yankee psychobabble, Audrey disciplines Cece without asking George or Mandy first. Real old school discipline. Mandy and Georgie have a full-on parenting blowout with her. Generational parenting clash, fully on display. In the next episode, Payback and a partial shebang, the rivalry with Feigenbacher's store threatens to break up Georgie and Ruben as partners. Georgie's keeping even more secrets from Mandy. Mandy's getting tired of Georgie keeping secrets from her. In the next episode, Miami Beach and a Magical Family Christmas, Audrey plans an unexpected Christmas vacation. Georgie and Mandy struggle to balance work, the holidays, and the fact that vacationing with the McAllisters is its own form of cardio. In the next episode, a new hobby, a pervert, and a part-time job, aired in February 2026, Audrey and Mandy push retired Jim to find something to do, anything to do, before he loses his mind. There's also a creepy customer side plot at Mandy's TV station that the title kinda hints at. But the next episode, the G-word and a blaspheming bimbo, is the season's biggest plot beat so far. Mandy makes a controversial remark on live TV, like a really bad remark. Religious controversy. And it puts her job, Georgie's tire business, and the entire family's reputation in Medford on the line. Then we hit episode 13, A Big Birthday and Tequila Shots, aired in March 2026. Pause on this one for a second. Georgie turns 21. Stop and think about that for a second. The very first lie Georgie ever told Mandy back at the bar when she asked him how old he was that he was 21. He was actually 17 at the time. Now, 4 whole years later, and he's finally, actually, legally 21 years old. The entire show has been one long, slow countdown to this number actually being true. And the episode itself is built around Mandy throwing him a 21st birthday party while she's in the worst slump of her own career. Real heavy stuff dressed up like a sitcom episode. The show has been quietly setting up for this moment for years now, and the writers know exactly what they're doing with it. 4 years, 1 bar, 1 lie, and here we are. In the next episode, 3 angry women and a prophylactic, Mandy Mandy tries to give Missy advice about boys, which is sweet until Mary finds out and the whole Cooper McAllister truce blows up. Georgie's caught right in the middle. In the next episode, a stuffed monkey and an ex-girlfriend, Cece loses her favorite stuffed animal, and somehow Mandy and Mima turn that into a money-making scheme. Connor revisits an old relationship. In the next episode, Alpha Males and the Power of Prayer, the fallout from the live TV remark finally gets addressed. Mandy goes to make peace with Pastor Jeff, the family's priest. Some of the church regulars stop buying from McAllister Auto because of what Mandy said. Big actions of consequences episode. Meanwhile, Jim and Audrey fight over Connor's allowance, because that's just what they do now. In the next episode, a country club, a yokel, and a new boss, Georgie tries to network at the local country club to drum up some new clients for the tire store. It backfires hard when the country club's outdated, kind of exclusive policies end up upsetting Audrey, of all people. Meanwhile, Mandy's struggling to prove herself at her job under a new boss at the station. The next episode's a big one. A new scoreboard and a horse's you-know-what. Georgie wants to do something real to honor his dad. Specifically, he wants to get the football scoreboard at the high school renamed after George Sr. Cooper Field, basically. Sweet, right? Except Fred Fagenbacher tries to actively sabotage it. Because of course he does. Because this man's entire personality is just making other people's lives worse. Look, Fagenbacher's been a pain in the neck all season, but messing with a kid trying to honor his dead father? Bro! In the most recent episode, A Little Schmoozin' and a Nose for the News, aired on May 7th, 2026, Georgie tries to get on the local news to promote the tire store. That sparks a feud between Mandy and a rival weather girl at the station. Mandy figures out that she can use the conflict to actually get her own career back on track. So heading into the final stretch of season 2, Mandy's career's still rebuilding, Georgie's still scrapping with Fagenbacher, and the family's still making it work. That's where we are, right now, today. The season finale drops in just a couple of weeks. And that is the entire story of Georgie and Mandy so far. All the way from a 17-year-old high school dropout lying about his age at a laundromat to a 29-year-old single mom-to-be, to married parents running their own tire store and fending off the world's most petty business rival, season 2 is wrapping up in just a couple of weeks. Season 3 has already been officially ordered, so we'll be back with more of this idiot family before you know it. Until then, I don't know about you guys, but I need a minute to process the fact that Mary Cooper is out there dating again. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and do all those other awesome things you people do, and I will see you in the next one.